Jack Devine here, once again from the living room. We are talking about Scarlet Begonias today. We're going to go straight to the beady. What a song! I mean, what an amazing song! This song was always so wonderful to hear if I was ever at a show and I would get to hear that song. It always get me up on my feet, kicking ass and having fun. And it's just such a sweet little perfect gem of a tune. So what do we have? We've got a couple of parts that we're considering, and how to level up our solos is really what we're looking at, right? So we have the section. I have a loop here created poorly a few moments ago, playing roughly the verse, which is E to B. All right, E back to B, A, E, B, A, E, A, E, B, A, E, back to B. This part's the hard part. Right? That little section there in the middle is the hard bit. All right. So we have the melody over top of the E to B part, right? Ain't nothing wrong with the... Right? So that's very simple to do, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? We're just going... All right, so any of the notes surrounding the B, starting on that E sound, right? So if we come in... Super fun song. I mean, what a great tune to hear live, and what a great tune to be able to play with your friends. I mean, I love this song. Okay, so here are the parts that I'm kind of copying. Right, I'm doing like the main Jerry bit with the. And depending on which era of the song you're hearing, if you're hearing like an early version, like a 74, right, or 73, you're going to get a lot more of a, you're going to get a more syncopated. He usually does a 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. He's just playing a couple of little upstroke chanks like that. And if you watch some of that black and white footage from Capitol Theater and those kinds of shows, he's playing the bean, very cool. White bean, very cool. So you'll see some of that, like a much more determined, like I'm only playing on the and or the 4. I think it's 1 and 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And everybody else is carrying a lot more of the riff, so to speak. Now, granted, by the end of their time, he's kind of going... kind of giving it a little bit more of that body. All right? And he's definitely not using like a neck pickup creamy sound, but for the purposes of this discussion here, I tend to keep it a little smoother than like the brighter, more chimey middle pickup stratty sound that I'll go for live. I don't need to cut through the other yahoos in the band that I'm playing with, right? I mean, I love those guys, don't get me wrong, but they're my way. No, I'm kidding. But all right, so we'll talk about that in a minute too, like tonal choices if you want. All right, and then you've got the bobby parts, which again, if you're looking at the recorded energy, you've got like a, he's like doing this kind of really bouncy. Okay, this really fancy little octave part. In the beginning, you're getting a, so you gotta figure out how to make that thing groove and make it going. Yeah. You want it to feel like a shaker, like, because when the drums kick in and it all starts to like kind of interlock, very good feeling, okay? That's played usually with an octave and then an upstroke, like that on these top two B and E strings, right? Then we hop to an octave. I pull off, I do not go, I just go. And if you keep your hand moving the whole time, you'll see which direction those strokes are supposed to be taking. One. Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, up. Okay, so if you're thinking about things along the 16th note grid of down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you can reverse engineer what each stroke is supposed to be. Now, granted, you're not supposed to be sitting there going and playing the whole time, hitting the guitar every single 16th note. Not by any means. You need that kind of space in there. Okay, and usually the middle pickup, I mean the middle setting on the 335 is pretty tasty for this. Has that little sharp. Okay, really nice sound, okay? That's the opening part. Then we've got. Okay, and we can do that here. Or something like that. No big deal. You're gonna, you know. This kind of. So you can look for a couple little inversions there if you're doing the bobby thing. You've got that. That's pretty sweet. Where you put the third in the bass there. Okay. There's nothing much really more to the song other than the bridge. F sharp, D, A, E, F sharp, A, D. Beautiful little bridge. All right, really well written. Okay, so That's the shake. That's the breakdown of the tune on Mas, I suppose. Soloing. All right, this is definitely a challenging song to solo over. Okay, it's fun. The best way of looking at it is to try to break the section into those three sections. Right, the verse, what I call the verse. It's kind of like transition where we're over the A to E to B, this part. Think of that as like a transitional part. And then the build where we have that B, 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 A. Right back into the verse. Really nice, okay? Well, let me see. Maybe if I can get a little bit more of the right hand in the shot here. All right. So melody, right? That's coming in on that E chord pretty big time. So we're gonna wanna think about E chord tones on the downbeat of this loop, right? My loop starts on the, the downbeat of the verse. So that's gonna be E would work here, right? G sharp. Okay, and B. B would work here as well. Okay, so we've got a B, a G, and G sharp, and an E, okay? And usually I'll do a little sweep. Right, this is like an E major 7 chord. Okay, see, it sounds even better when it's in tune. There we go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and. And you can take your time with this, okay? The most important thing to remember as the soloist here is, A, don't come out of the gate going bonkers. You got to save some for the end. The solo should be on an upward trajectory and then let it deflate an upward trajectory again. Each time you can start at a higher level and keep going further and further. Let's say you have 2 or 3 passes, right? Maybe you change your tone halfway through or the pickup selection, add a little overdrive, whatever you want to do. Give yourself the opportunity to build. Okay, sorry, this stuff is all distracting me in the background. Anyway, when we've got this little idea, at the end of the phrase, we can slow down a little bit. We can go, right, da 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 da. Right, okay, that's fine. But you could also go blah da 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 da. Right, you can slow down a little bit and have maybe bring out a little bit more drama out of it. Like instead of going, right, you could do, you could do. Okay, so taking your time with that. Very fun, okay? I'm not sure whether or not the guitar is sounding good or if anybody has any comments about what they're hearing. Sometimes it's weird, I don't understand. I've never really had good audio out of my house. Like doing these live streams, it's always like got this weird popping and clipping and shit. I don't know if that's because I live in a disadvantaged part of New York City. Okay, so maybe we should talk a little bit about what the whole song is out of the key of E major. So that means every single note that you're going to need to play as you solo over this tune is going to be out of this, those 7 notes. Now granted, over top of the B chord, you're going to be thinking about the notes that are available out of E major that make up the B7 sound. So you're going to be focusing on that D sharp, the B, and the F sharp, and to some extent, the A and the G sharp, right? Right. And over the A chord, you're thinking about A Lydian. So that's B mixolydian. Over the A chord, it's A Lydian. Right, and that's really the big note that you're going to want to make sure you're hitting is that, again, that D sharp. If you play A major, that D natural is going to sound like a real turd in your punch bowl. Don't do that. Okay, and you'll see that as we come into that A part, we're going to go. over the A with that raised 4. Okay, and then very fun, that little section, but challenging. Easy to get turned around for sure. So we'll talk about maybe some go-to moves that I use all the time when I play that song. And then the rest of it is that build. Good morning, looper recommendation since I caught me live. You know, I use the looper that's built into my Kemper Profiler and I cannot stand it. It is a shitty looper, but it's convenient, so I use it. I am not really too concerned about loopers, but I've used if you have power on your board, then you can get the little tiny ditto looper. That sounds fine. It allows you to control the function of the volume. The only bummer of inline loopers is that typically whatever you're looping out, you know, if you then go to stack a gain on top of your lead sound, it's problematic. So the thing that's nice about this is that the looper is existing outside of, right? This is happening, and if I change, this is gonna happen no matter what. And if I add distortion to the sound, and octave, it's not like I put that on the loop too, right? That's the biggest downer for, I'll lean back. That's the biggest downer for most loopers, is that they're in line. So whatever you're doing to your sound to create a better lead tone, you got problems there. Okay, so you know, it's not exactly the best pedal for a lot of folks for a lot of reasons, but for learning, it's invaluable. Okay, so I mean, how else am I going to have anybody sit down and play this thing this complicated? I've got a little bass line. I've got 3 parts going here. I've got like a pseudo bass line played with an octave on this guitar and the neck pickup with the tone down. I've got the phony Bobby bit. Okay, and then I've got like a basic, you know, kind of my fake Jerry part, right? But I don't want everything to be super loud and crisp and bright. Everything needs to be a little bit more muted than the guitar sound that I'm about to put on top of it if I want to be able to hear it without having to really turn the guitar into hammer it like dog shit, you know. I don't want every note to have to be like killed in order to make it over top of that mix. So again, I'll go and change my volume, make it a little louder than it needs to be so I can be dynamic with the playing. So I want to be able to kind of ebb and flow, kind of get lost in the mix and then punch through the mix. So these are some looper tips for sure. All right. So let's look at like ideas that we can do over top of there. We already did this. Well, my biggest advice to you on that first section is breathe, buddy. Breathe. Take it easy. Allow the band to kind of step up and be part of the show. All right. If you keep blowing, then you're going to ruin the pace of the solo. You want there to be like an opening bid and then a negotiation that comes back and then you bid again. And then during the build or that like the transitional period, you kind of build a little bit more and then you really lay it on heavy during the B, okay? And the B is actually the easiest part. It's kind of your reward for making it through the bullshit in the middle, which is actually kind of befuddling for a lot of folks. So let's focus on that first thing of just staying the melody and getting the hell out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're into our B section, okay? Now the B section, we're gonna talk about some stuff. But you saw how nice it was where the loop kind of steps in and takes over the story. Right? let's look at the middle section, okay? We've got an A chord, an E chord, and a B chord, okay? Now let's take time to make it easy, right? We're gonna build up, A, right? So there's an A. I'm just playing an A chord shape, coming down into an E chord, chromatically down to the root, and then do it again. Something like that, right? So that's pretty fun. Well, we're gonna have to wait till we get there, but out. Okay, now. Okay, so we navigated that B section pretty nicely. Okay, so think about that A, then we're E, right? So those are E arpeggios into a B arpeggio, or you could have gone okay, like that kind of thing. Very, very fun, okay? Challenging though. You say it to yourself. A, E, B, A, E, A, A, E, B. Okay, we'll talk about the build in a minute. Okay, that's where you can really step on the gas a little bit. I'll show you a few of these ideas. Okay, so if we take that same idea, okay, that's simple. If we come up here, we can do this. What is it? Okay, we can wait to go. Right, there's some nice stuff that we had there if we do that. So let's do. Really kind of nice there. All right, so it's not that it's pretty unassuming. So that's the third of the E on the bend, then down to the fifth of the B. So we're coming up to third of the A. Okay, that's going to be that's the third of the E to the fifth of the B, and then we're going to go back to A. Back to A. Now we're going to go third of the E again. And these is triplet and triplet. That's a little E chord. It's shaped like a D, and this is a little A shaped. And pretty much resolve into any kind of B noodling you want. Okay, so here we go. Let's do it with the, we can do it from here. so that was. So I'm doing this over the E chord and then chromatically building up to that B, okay? And then after that, we're going to build. All right, so let's talk about those build sections. There's a couple of examples of how to handle the A, E, B part. It's definitely the hardest part, in my opinion, okay? The B build, we have the option to utilize some of our Garcia-style pseudo-chromatics that I talk about. These kind of... those kind of big building lines, okay? And so those are built in a variety of ways, and there was an office hours not too long ago about them. So let's look at a couple of typical ones. The one that I remember learning first, I've come to give most of these ideas kind of a name, and this one I refer to as the bolero, okay? Because if anybody's familiar with that piece, that classical piece, the snare drum theme, we're going to emulate that. Okay, so ta 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 ta. Right, so that's punch and jump up here. We're going to hit the B, go up to the 2 and go 2 flat 3 3 5. And I'm going down, down, up, down, down. All right, I find that much easier than, oh, pardon me, going like that with the upstroke underneath. Okay, so we're going to be using this symmetry here on the next 2 lines. One, ba ba do ba, and then from here. Okay, now we're not going to go, although sometimes I do, and it does not sound so great. This flat 2 note, this B note sounds pretty shitty. That comes by so fast in the momentum. Usually it goes down without much of a fight, but thanks for going live. It's been really benefiting from my lessons. That's dope. Man, I got nothing to do between now and my, I have 12 o'clock, I think. So I've got a half an hour to contribute here. It's always fun. I do enjoy this. Okay, so, all right, once we get up to that octave, we can now play or jump like that, right? Or, but we don't really like that. So I usually do this. Right? Root 2 flat 3 3, but this third is going to be found here. So bum, ba ba da bum, ba ba da bum, ba ba da bum. Then chromatically from 3 to 5, and then we can come up here because we're playing over a B7 sound, right? And then we can come back and go into the E chord. Let's see how that sounds. Let's stack up all of our ideas. 1, 2, 3, and. That kind of thing, right? I don't know what happened here. All right, I'm back somehow. My doctor called me and I needed to provide some insurance information. So hopefully that'll get it done. Anyway, guys, sorry about that. So that's how, sorry about that. So bump, baba da bump, baba da bump, baba da bump. back into the third of our E chord, okay? The other way we could look at that is instead of going up to the 2 after that punch, we could go, or, right, that kind of thing. And you'll see me do that in I'll try doing a little bit of that. Sound is intermittent currently, or it just shut out while I had to deal with the presenting. I had to take a photograph and send it to somebody. You should be shocked that a 55-year-old guy actually can be doing a live stream, get a phone call, take a photograph, text it, and get it done with slightly intermittent sound. Can you hear me all right now? Or does it have that little popping thing that I was talking about earlier? I'm sorry if it's upsetting to you. Okay. So let's look at this other pseudo-chromatic build, okay? Sorry about this. I gotta get this squared away a little bit better. What's going on, folks? I'm not a TV studio. If I sit on my leg, I bet I can get up a little higher. Let me show you guys what's going on with the picking hand. Okay, so if we're thinking about chromaticisms, okay, the way Garcia liked to look at it, and this is what I hear anyway, I don't know. I never had a chance to talk to or anything like that. It is a nice guitar strap. A friend of mine named John bought it for me, or gave it to me. It was like a party favor at his house, and he made a present of it to me, along with a few others that I still use to this day. And I didn't notice that it had Jerry Garcia's name on it, but it does. So a bit of a fanboy move, but it's okay, right? So instead of going bop, ba ba da bump, we're gonna go ba da ba da boom, ba ba da da. All right, that's and 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So we're gonna hear this kind of thing. Okay, 1 2 3 4. Little sloppy there, okay? So that's one, right? Okay, so you can use those 4-note builds, right? So that's 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, right? And then we can go 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. And down into the third, so coming backwards chromatically. Now these are pseudo-chromatics. These are not true. I'm not going, I'm not playing every note between the B and the B. I'm playing the B and then punching from chromatically between 2 chord tones, the 3rd and the 5th. And then from the 6th and to the root. That's going 2 flat 3 3 5. All right. I very rarely would. I would never go. I wouldn't do that because this is nothing. Okay, so that's stemming off the root and going to the 3rd. This is root going to the 2nd and getting to the 5th. It's different. You know, so up. Okay, very fun song. Okay, last but not least, we should look at the build over this. Okay, this little area of this B chord here. So first we built one off of this. Right, that sound. Still getting out of tune here. There we go. So the last one here is this B here. And if we look at it from the... Right, so we can see it like the same way. All right, but on the way back, we have some opportunities here to really exploit this. We can go triplet. So this is important. Please put on your thinking caps, guys. We're gonna be doing a stream of triplets, okay? So triplet, 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 and then into the root of the E. Something like that. Something like that, okay? And we're gonna try to find our way into that kind of thing, okay? So that would be... Sure, right. Sorry, I was reading a question that came in. Do I ever incorporate thirds and sixths? Of course. So right there, that's I'm more apt to break them up. Like that. So those are thirds, right, and sixths. Instead of going very similar. Something like that, of course. So what is it you mean? Do I do things like that kind of thing? I'm not really too, you mean like the mid 70s, kind of like 77, where you hear that? The answer is no. I don't really find it to have as much energy as the general approach that I take. Yeah, I don't take 6 passes of this solo. I think I've got something to say, but I don't think I have all night to say it. I've got a lot of work to try to get out generally. That said, the middle section, and when my band plays it, that can tend to have a lot more, trying to figure out how to make like I'm doing a lot more of that kind of stuff usually with the when it's kind of a little bit more floaty and spacey. But during the more driving parts, I must say, I tend not to lean on the sixths too much, unless I'm breaking it apart in the way of kind of like more like an arpeggio, but rather than going all the way through, I would just go. Something like that, okay? So back to my build over top of this this kind of B chord up here. Sorry, I got interrupted. I got distracted. Rather, it's nobody's fault for asking a question, obviously. Right? you. Okay, now that was shit at the end there, but there was some fun. Okay, so over top of that B chord shape, we're gonna be going. Right, and these are depo dipi lipa pipo depi lipa. Right, that's the pattern. Oh yeah, there were some sixths there. Okay, so building over that. Nothing too much more to say about it. If anybody's got any questiones, that should do it. I do have to check in with my doctor who is sending that. I just want to make sure that works. Does that work? Let's see if that's cool. All right. So, anybody got any questions about either what we discussed or what you're currently doing over Scarlet? Or if you want to talk about another topic, that's entirely acceptable too. I've got 15 minutes until I'm supposed to be on my next call. Great stuff. Thank you. I appreciate the thanks. I'm going for broke here and asking if anybody needs any further. Sorry, here, I'm going to go to my channel to see if there's anything else, if anybody's got any questions. Because this thing is always a pain in the ass. Oh, I see there's been some action while I was... Okay, so looper recommendations. All right, sounds good. Okay, beside the chromatic runs, what mode mostly? Okay, so let's talk. This entire song is, oh yeah, absolutely. This is good. Oh, that's kind of slick. I had no idea I could actually see the threads here. Okay, so do I ever incorporate thirds? That was the one question. Besides the chromatic runs, what mode? And this is purely out of E major. So over top of, anytime we're playing over a B chord, we're thinking B mixolydian. So that's going to be that kind of, over top of the B build is where you're going to be using that the most. Over here, we're doing E major. All right, and then still E. All right, so once we get into our... no, I'm thinking of E and just ending on B, but here, right? For me to bend to. All right, what else do we see? What mode? Mostly B mixolydian is my answer over the B chords, A Lydian over the A chord, and then E major over E Ionian. Okay, still talking about the harmonizing of the jam lick. Understood. Curious to know how, if doing these office hours has also helped me in any way. It definitely, yes, of course. Obviously, does this help me in a way? Sure, because it makes me formulate and kind of crystallize my thoughts on a subject matter. and you know, being put to the test of having to actually interact with people who have active questions, right? You know, that makes you realize what's going on. Do I never think of modes? Generally, I'm thinking about the mode like I know the whole song is in. How do I know two things, right? I know that I need to play a B mixolydian sound over that, and I also know that I'm thinking about E major. So if at any point in time I start to want to get creative, I could also think about playing C sharp minor over top of it. It's like the sixth mode of E major, right? So I could go, right? Okay, so, if you think too much, you're gonna have problems. I like to play melodies actually on this song. I try to think about little sing-songy things. Especially, I love that little. I love that. It's like, and this is actually what I wanted to talk about the song, and unfortunately, I forgot until 10 minutes into it. I know it's a high energy number, but from the soloist perspective, I think it's much better if you kind of whisper it a little bit more. Like if you play with the space of the track more, I think you'd do better as a performer, you know. Let's see, that is much better. Right. So hopefully that'll stay up. That's propped up on this little stand I have. So what I mean by that is by getting out of the way, like if we play too much, like look at this idea. That's a lot. Verse. Right? Like get out of the way of the music. Let the whole thing, you don't have to be playing a guitar solo so much as just adding to the shtick of the band until, you know, maybe save the guitar solo for like the second time through, right? So you don't have to always be rocking balls the whole fucking time. That's a little too much. Sometimes this little like, you know. D natural. Don't hit D natural. Ick. There's only one reason to do D natural in this tune, and that's to go come up into a flat from a flat third. So my advice is, hey, pare it back a little bit. You know, don't overstep, because you know the first section of the song is the easiest, right? So people will jam pack it with like a very dense line. Right, or something like that. And all of a sudden, there's nowhere for them to go, and the toughest parts are still yet to come. So if that's your opening statement, and you don't have the ability to really continue developing the idea at an elevated level of density, it gives the sensation of like losing momentum, you know, and that's kind of what we're most concerned about, in my opinion, is that we don't want to flail and like totally clam up. That's the worst. I hate that. And trust me, I'm an experienced player. This song in particular, I've been playing it for 20 fucking years. I still find myself having trouble. So these little ideas, they're there as like a little safety net for me. Right? Okay, so right now it's the problem that the E and the B share so many common tones, All right, so you could be on that B and think, oh, I'm playing B, therefore I'm playing over a B, but you're actually on the E chord playing its fifth. Okay, so. Right, so at that point we played nicely into the A, the third of the E, fifth of the A, back to fifth of the B, back to A's fifth. All right, and have to end on the third of the E. All right, and yeah, everybody will tell you it's an E major. Just go up and down E major. There's no way that's going to work out for you. It's a. Do I have any, what was that? Do I have any recommended exercises to help with parts like that quick downward triplets thing? Yeah, totally, of course. So let's look at what we're talking about here, okay? We're gonna need to work on our alternate picking, okay? So this idea, you're gonna wanna go, so right there you saw down, up, down, up, down, down. That's down, up, down, down, up, okay? Now, if that's going down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like, I think I might be going. Yeah, I do a 2 upstrokes there. So I'm going. So I'm going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That was, yeah, so sometimes it's hard to do the down, up, down, up, So a lot of that is in order to create the speed of not having to go up and around the string, okay? I'm doing some directional picking. So this like kind of Eric Johnson or Bonamassa technique, but played through the lens and the note selections that you hear on those Garcia licks, because I don't think I can alternate pick as fast as he can. Or maybe I'm just not, maybe I don't listen, I haven't heard that much where he's like blistering through triplet, but I know he's, just kind of goes sometimes and blah, and it doesn't matter if it's fudged a little bit. I'm, on the other hand, trying to teach people as opposed to playing to throngs of adoring fans. So you would want to practice that lick a lot, is the main exercise. Okay, so if we get that together, we're definitely in good shape. Here, I gotta do this with my insurance card again. Ugh, my God. Sorry, guys. The truth is I'm gonna take off. Actually, I've got 2 minutes to get ready for my lesson here, and I got to get this stuff out to my doctor. All right, before the weekend comes, because he's about to disappear. All right, so I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Practice your Scarlet, and I've got a couple of already pretty well thought out and performed lessons on this available. If you look up Jacksnax Scarlet, oh yeah, everything's gonna be great. And there's tablature for one of them if you want to throw down and buy some tab. Otherwise, there's a couple of this is like a recurring theme here. I love this song, and it doesn't get any easier. And so I keep addressing it periodically to the faithful here that tune in. So if you're here for your first time, thanks for popping by. If you're here as a repeat offender, I thank you for making my life a little bit more interesting and helping me kind of codify my understanding of this great music. All right, peace and have a great weekend, everybody. All right, cheers.